You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm the bad boy of X-Men podcasting, Zack. How we doing?
I'm great.
Y'all thought I forgot about being the bad boy of X-Men podcasting, and you'd be right. I remembered moments before when Adam called me this, as he was saying, you ready?
You know, I like to check our sound levels before we get started. And I said, I wanted to hear the rich timbre of Zachary Jenkins, the bad boy of X-Men podcasting's voice. And here we are. I think you sound great.
The thing about rich timber is that you just don't get it anymore. All that old wood has been chopped down as we have destroyed this country.
Oh,
and now you just don't get that rich timber anymore.
No. R-E, not E-R. It's like theater versus theater.
Those are the same thing. Hold on.
They
Hold
are
on,
the
back
same
up.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
Zach,
are they?
What?
I'm sorry, Adam. I got distracted from the advertisements on the Marvel Wiki as I was loading up the stuff for this.
Yeah.
They're actually making a show about Agatha Harkness?
Oh, yeah. It comes on next week through Halloween.
That's not a joke?
No. And guess who's in it?
Agatha Harkness?
The Shadow King.
No, he's not.
No, not him. Oh, I'm loving your expression right now.
Adam,
No, okay. Before I stretch your brain too much.
hold on. I want to be very clear.
Yes.
If you're telling me that all of this multiversal nonsense crap that they have been doing for years, trying to tell us that everything is connected,
Yes.
means that they are going to be like, and also the Noah Hawley Legion show that none of you watched counts, and Aubrey Plaza is in this freaking show.
Aubrey Plaza is in this show. She is not playing Lenny.
Then I don't care.
So
That's just Aubrey Plaza having a job. And I love that for Aubrey.
But good God, when she popped up in the trailer, I was like, oh, that would be great. But I don't think that's what's happening. Anyway,
That's
yes.
because no one watched that show.
Legion? Yeah. I think a lot of people are probably going to watch this one.
That's because you and me, guys who deeply enjoyed the show and have an X-Men podcast, still haven't finished it.
Oh, I've finished it.
You finished it? At one point, you had also not finished.
There was a point. I did go back, and it's worth finishing, But
I believe it. I didn't not finish it because I wanted to not finish it.
Yeah.
It was related to how I could only stream it on FX Now for the longest time.
Now it's on Disney Plus.
Now it's on Disney Plus. Like I have had access to rewatch Legion season 3. I've started the first episode 3 times. Then I got distracted each time.
That's fair. No, I'm very excited.
I feel like I should just go from the actual beginning, and that's a commitment.
No, that's too much. I'm very excited because, I just saw Alien Romulus, and now Zach Thompson has an Alien Romulus preview comic, like prelude comic coming out.
That is only for adults, I'm hearing.
Apparently.
I'm hearing that there are no babies allowed.
No. And now Noah Hawley is doing an Alien TV show. So I'm very excited about that. That's coming out next year. I was going somewhere with this. Oh, I do love that, like, because now I have my Disney Plus and my Hulu on the same app, that, like, when I open up movies, I see, like, the Saw franchise on, like, Hulu, like, in the little blocks. It just makes me laugh. I don't know. It's really funny to me.
It's weird, man. I don't.
It's like, anyway. Okay.
The monoculture that happens when one company is running so much media.
It's not great.
Yes, it also leads to Kafkian things. I don't know. Kafka-esque. It's Kafka-esque. That's the word we all decide. It leads to a bunch of Kafka-esque stuff like that.
Sure. Zach, what are we talking about this week?
Oh, we're talking about good artist Chris Bachalo.
Oh, nice. One of our perennial favorites.
Technically, the request was for Chris Bachalo and Brian Michael Bendis comics, but we ran out of those.
Well, we are starting with one.
Yeah, but we're out after that. We
We've done them all.
we did him.
Great.
Good work on us on doing all the comics from a run that our podcast is named after. Over 7 years now? It took us 7 years.
Hey, we spread it out judiciously.
Is it 6 years? No, are we 6 or 7 years?
No. We hit our 7th year anniversary in August. We're going on 8 now.
That's too many for us to be the 3rd ranked X-Men podcast. I was literally joking to Connor earlier this week about how I was mad at him for stealing number 2 from us. Bumping us down the rankings.
Don't get mad. We're not bitter. We're good right where we are.
I mean, I was joking with him about it. I want to be clear. This is all buddy stuff. We were talking about how like New York Comic Con's coming up.
Yes.
Oh, let's go grab a beer. Let's
Absolutely. For listeners who might be going to New York Comic Con, be aware that not only will I be there for my manyth year in a row, but Mr. Zack Jenkins will be there by my side as well.
I will be. You can say hi to me.
We might even have stickers. Who knows?
The pretend I don't exist rule will be lifted for those 4 days. in the convention hall for 5-minute period max.
Yep. You can come up, say hi. Anyway, we'll have more information about that as we get closer.
That's all it is.
Oh, always be cool. Always be
I have anxiety.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. All right. So, Zach, speaking of cool, who is this person that requested this awesome theme for this week?
Oh, that's a great segue. Thank you for being nice to our listeners after I was mean to them. It's Josh Moore. If you want to be like Josh, you can go over to patreon.com/Battle of the Atom. Reach deep down into your hearts and pocketbooks and toss a couple of coins into our heavily inked coffers.
What are we starting with, Zach? This is the remaining Bendis Bachalo.
It's Bachalo. We know this.
Yeah, I don't know. I still.
It's so many years of only reading it. I know it's hard. I know.
Bendis Bachalo. What is this, Zach?
I have no idea what this arc is actually called, but it's Uncanny X-Men Volume 3, 8 through 11. It is more Bendis Uncanny.
It sure is.
It's the lead up to Battle of the Atom is what it is.
Yeah. We've got 2 issues that are drawn by Chris, and we've got, and Tim Townsend. And then we have 2 issues that are done by Fraser Irving. So
with surprise Chris Anka. And I want to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Like I want us to get to it, but the surprise Chris Anka, that got me a bit, you know?
Just rereading this made me so happy. I know we talk about this every time we talk about this run of comics, but I do truly adore and love this run. And
if people are mad about this run or say it's bad,
they're wrong.
They're wrong, but I understand. Like I can sit here and say, I see where you came to that perspective from, but also the vibes and the character stuff is so immaculate that I don't care. Like let's talk about this. Let's jump into this. So they've just come back from hell, from limbo. Goldballs is done.
He's freaking out. He's not happy.
To be fair to Fabio, he was literally in hell fighting one of Satan.
I mean, you don't meet Dormammu on the second day of superheroing for most people, you know?
Yeah. One of his teachers turned into another Satan.
Uh-huh.
It was a bad time for him. He wants to go home.
Yes.
Now,
does his family want him to go home? I don't know.
So this is one of the first issues I actually picked up when I started reading monthly. I have a page from this issue right here.
Yep, I'm looking.
I forgot what issue that page was from, and then I started reading this. It's like, I know what this panel layout's gonna be. I see it constantly. It's a really good piece because it lays out one, like Fabio gets a good character moment and it starts to build up why he's one of my favorites, because he's like, he doesn't want to do this and he's being drugged into this world in a very relatable way. And he's great and I love him.
Well,
It also has Cyclops.
the whole
Oh.
scene with his family is fantastic. You know, his dad is obviously very anti-mutant and thinks that Cyclops is like experimented on him, and the family's, you know, his parents think that Cyclops abducted him, and Fabio's like, no. He's like, I went with them. They saved me, you know? And then
There were robots attacking me.
yes,
They did that. Which, by the way, people are like, they tried to make Cyclops bad. And I feel like anyone who's saying that, they were trying to disrespect Cyclops,
no.
didn't read this book. And also, this book was written by Brian Michael Bendis in 2013 at Marvel. They weren't doing anything. They were telling this story about, hey, what if Cyclops, this character we all like he's been going through a lot. Let's unpack that and make things worse for him, because that's how stories are told.
Yes. So folks who don't remember, Cyclops' powers are still out of control. He's asking for guidance from Magneto, who is also potentially you know, kind of playing double agent with Shield.
Yeah, he's a spy for Shield.
Yes.
That's the gimmick during this whole series.
Yes. So
but he's also not really a spy for Shield.
No. But we've got this fun, you know, who's on whose side kind of thing. Emma and Cyclops are still not quite getting along. And now we have this great new cast of kids. So on top of all the great Fabio stuff, we are also introduced to another one of my favorites from this time, which is Hijack.
Is Hijack one of your favorites? Because I'm going to be honest, of all of the Bendis kids, Hijack, who is like my current age, who's in his early 30s, I feel like he doesn't get any good spotlights outside of like his introduction.
We need more Hijack, is what I'm saying. Is because when you get Hijack, he's a lot of fun. He is an illustrator. So he is a professional freelance illustrator who just wants to go back to drawing. And instead, he has the same situation as the other characters here, where he gets into this situation. In his case, case of, you know, police brutality, basically. He's at gunpoint from under these cops, and Cyclops and the team show up and rescue him. And all of a sudden, well, this grown man who's probably around the same age as Cyclops is like getting bossed around at the Weapon X facility. It's pretty great stuff.
Like there was more story to tell.
Oh yeah. That's why I'd love to see more, you know, but we're getting all of this team building. And then when the Fraser Irving half of the story kicks in, that is when we're really starting to see this team connect and start to actually come into action, because Fabio comes back to the team and we've got the whole roster up against some absolutely bananas weird Sentinel that cannot be taken down.
The blockbuster Sentinel. Yeah. So they go to a rally, actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Held at University of Michigan, which I hate that. I hate that they're the nice, good, progressive people. And I hate that Bendis did then make a character who was from Ohio State University, and it was freaking Ulysses from Civil War II, who we all hate.
Oh, Jesus. There are college football implications to this that I don't understand, but I can
Brian,
see.
you're from Ohio. You're from the Cleve, man. Why did I not press him on that during our interview?
That would have been a fun little thing to explore with him. But Cyclops is like, wow, these folks are coming out and like supporting us. Let's make a surprise appearance. And of course, these Sentinels have been following them around. And here's what happens. Sentinel shows up, disrupts everything. X-Men have to save the people and themselves because, you know, our most powerful X-Men here are out of control and can't do what they want to do.
It's really cool looking.
Yep.
I mean, it's Fraser Irving, so it looks phenomenal. But I want to give special accommodation to Chris Anka, because what Anka does here is become a chameleon. Like, Fraser Irving is not a easy artist to share pages with.
Nope.
And what Anka does, because Anka, like, again, very distinct artist. but he blends his style and his page layouts to be similar to what Irving does, and then colors himself with a palette that makes it so that those pages, I didn't realize the first time I was reading these years ago that it was a different artist.
I mean, you can see it in the line work, but
now I can. Now you think I can't spot a Fraser Irving versus a Chris Anka? I'm there, Adam. But I had read greater than 100 comics at the time.
No, but you're making an excellent point. And Chris will become a fixture on this book and is doing a fantastic job. It's also used very, very intelligently to go back and forth between what's happening on the ground with Irving, and the Anka stuff is mainly what's happening with Maria Hill on the Shield helicarrier. There's another really great scene that we skipped over where Dazzler has taken Fabio back up to interrogate him to the helicarrier because she's working for Shield, and the X-Men team basically show up, use time bubble from Tempest to stop the people around them, and then Hijack has an opportunity to hijack the helicarrier. All of that is just a lot of fun. And
so the other thing that I love about this is how, like, these 4 issues are really grounded by, like, they're centered around Cyclops and what's going on with him. Like, he's struggling to figure out how he should position himself versus how he really feels.
Yep.
And how those things are complicated.
Yes.
It goes on, like, someone says, screw the Avengers are cops. And Cyclops is like, hold on, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I know they did try and, like, capture me very recently, but also, like, the Avengers are not the root cause of our issue here. Like, he's like, they aren't racist. They aren't the overtly racist people that we're dealing with, which is a really interesting, weird line to be walking here.
Yeah.
And it's complicated, and it's one of those things that, like, when you try and directly apply real world politics onto a world where, like, Thor exists,
right.
There's not a one-to-one, but it shows where Cyclops is at in his internal conflict. It also shows him, like, okay, I'm just gonna do this right now, Adam, because it's bothering me.
What's that?
So you know how I don't know if you're reading spoilers for recent comics. I don't know if you're reading the current From the Ashes. X-Men.
I am. I'm very confused, but please continue.
You know how the current From the Ashes run of X-Men is 80% this comic run, like in most aspects. Like, a lot of the team's the same, a lot of the being up in the snowy wilderness is the same, a lot of Cyclops busting heads with Shield and or some other government facility is the same. Cyclops having a mental breakdown and a little bit of super anxiety because he's been going through this a lot is the same.
There are some distinct similarities.
Hey, wow. This one getting into Cyclops' head is so much friggin' better. Like, to the point where I'm actively mad at some other comic books because this last issue where Cyclops is just talking about, hey, look at this team. Look, Gold Balls is, like, friggin' doing the dang job right now. He's yelling Gold Balls and shooting Gold Balls out of his chest. And we have gotten away from that aspect of Gold Balls, him yelling his name.
Yeah.
If he wants to keep going by egg, that's fine. I do think he needs to yell eggs when he shoots his eggs out as a weapon.
Where is Gold Balls right now, though?
Presumably wherever he wants to be.
But did he come back from Krakoa in the White Hot Room?
Unless there is I don't know. I don't believe we specifically saw Gold Balls come back. My assumption is unless we specifically saw someone not come back, then, like Kafka, then they came back because the 5 doesn't work anymore because Hope's not around.
Right.
So Gold Balls can exist.
Sure. And I hope he continues to shout his silly name. Because Fraser,
I hope he friggin' finds, I don't know, who's an X-Men bad guy? Sienna Blaze, and just goes, eggs! And hits her with a bunch of his golden eggs.
Well, I agree. I don't want to disparage too much right now because I want to see more of where it's going. But
I don't. I can read 3 comics and know where things are going. People
I
are like, "Oh, it's early." No, I've read enough comic books. I know.
yeah. I'm going on another podcast within the next couple of weeks to discuss all of that. So I'm gonna
Are
hold.
you? Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right.
I'm gonna hold my opinions on some of this stuff.
You hold your opinions. Let
what
my
I
opinion
what I am
be.
going to say is you are right about how good the Bendis stuff is. And it seems very earned after everything that has happened
Yes.
previous to this.
It
It's a natural
feels like
evolution.
this is a character with multiple dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like this is a team with multiple dimensions. It feels like Magic. Honestly, Magic doesn't have multiple dimensions here. She's just fun.
Hey, Chris is doing that great thing where, like, when she comes back from a portal, she's surrounded by like slithery demon heads and like snakes and stuff.
His weird Chris Bachalo is like, this page is going to take forever because I do want to put as many skulls on it as possible.
It looks great.
Love it.
Yeah, he's also doing that, his 2-page spread thing that Bendis likes to do with his artists. And Bachalo is also doing the, character really close in the foreground with the halftones. So there's a lot of really great, fun kind of trademark to this era stuff happening here. And I really like it. So we should...
This is I was just going to say, because I want to talk about this for each of the 3 stories we're doing, because I think it's a fair comp.
Mm-hmm.
This is like in the top 2 of Chris Bachalo eras for me. Like,
yeah.
Because he goes through a lot of different stylistic changes through his career.
Yep.
It's like, depending on the day, this balance of chaotic and really sharp and expressive lines up head to head with like his early Generation X / Death stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's right there with me.
Yeah. And Tim Townsend is a perfect person to be working with him. I realize that as this run goes, he uses an army of inkers.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
He likes to do. We'll talk about one of those examples in a second, but it's clean for the most part. It's very, very interesting the way he's doing his page layout. So we should try and rank this on our big old list, Zach.
Okay, that's the thing. We do have a big old list where we're ranking every X-Men comic from best to worst. We've been doing it for 7 years now. And somehow we've only talked about 951 X-Men stories.
Amazing. On the road to 1,000.
On the road to 1,000. Adam, do you know what the best X-Men story is?
House of X, Powers of 10, baby.
It is. The 300th best is Generation X Volume 2, number 5. That's that iBoy story. Number 600 is the first appearance of Gambit. Number 900 is Ages with an S of Apocalypse. You did a bad one there, Alan. I forgot. I forgot Alan Davis's name for a second. And the worst X-Men story of all time is 2099 World of Tomorrow. Okay, Adam. So here's the thing.
Yep.
I don't know where we put this because it's not the best of the Bendis X-Men stuff, but it's better than like where's the fight with Shield? X-Men versus Shields at 254. This is better than X-Men versus Shield.
Okay. And I would say it's probably, I don't know, at 201 we have Last Will and Testament.
Last Will and Testament does more. It fails more.
Yes.
And also I think we know Last Will and Testament is too high, but Last Will and Testament does crank up some of the character stuff, and the Eva Bell stuff's great. The Charles stuff is great. I think Last Will and Testament wins out here.
Better or worse than at 243, The Secret Life of Eva Bell?
It's worse than The Secret Life of Eva Bell.
All right, so we know we're in between here in the
probably. Let's see what else is around here. Hold on, I just had it. It's worse than Magic Volume 2. That's for sure. That's
yes, 249. But I would put it ahead of at 250 X-Men the Manga Volume 1, 15 into 16 Colossus.
All right, then we're gonna put X-Men Volume 3, 18 to 11, Broken, which is the name of the trade. So that's what I'm putting in there at 250.
You didn't delete something, right? You just like added a row?
Yeah, I always add a row.
All right, rock and roll. Sorry.
Hey, don't question my PowerPoints. You're not my PowerPoint, my Excel skills. This is one of the like 4 skills I have.
All right, so
I'm jumping around here like clicky click right now, Adam. Do you see my cursor popping around the screen like a madman?
I know.
You think I could do that if I wasn't good at Excel? I know what I'm up to. Look, I'm highlighting all these things. You guys, this is a funnier joke if you're.
If you could see the spreadsheet and all of the variety of highlights in different directions you're doing.
If you could only see the Excel gymnastics that I was doing, which weren't even that interesting. I'm just tired. I was in friggin' New England all week. I've had a long one. What are we talking about, Adam? And is it Blood Hunt? Are we doing Blood Hunt?
Sure. Do you want to go to that one next? No, it's not.
Yeah, let's do that one next. Let's go in reverse chronological order.
This is not Blood Hunt. This is Curse
Is it not? Just hold on. I thought this was a story about Dracula's taking over like things.
Well, hold on. Don't the vampires in Curse of the Mutants just take over, like just fight the mutants? They don't fight like the whole world.
You think I remember much about Curse? They fight Blade and Namor. Namor's there.
Right.
Deadpool.
But Blood Hunt actually has Blade as the king of the vampires, if I remember correctly, because I know I read that first issue. I haven't read any of the other ones.
Hey, spoiler alert, Blade was possessed by
great
vampire demon thing.
I didn't think Blade actually was a villain. But I didn't read the rest of Blood Hunt. I was waiting for it to finish so I could check out that fun Pepe Larraz art.
I would love to look at Pepe Larraz's art. His weird Dark Souls guys, those were great. Like those guys. I hope those guys, come back in a future comic book. But that comic book would have to, by definition, involve more vampire stuff. People are like, so Adam, you weren't really reading comic books at this time, correct?
At Curse of the Mutants time?
Yeah.
No, this is
falling off.
Curse of the Mutants is 2010-ish, right? So I'm not actively reading X-Men at this time, no.
Which, fair enough. So people talk about how like the Inhumans were trying to be replacements for the X-Men. And while there's some level of truth to that, there's also a level of truth as Marvel was always trying to use the X-Men to get other people over.
Mm-hmm.
Including vampires. Because Twilight, y'all don't remember how big
Twilight was huge.
Is there a Twilight now? Like is Twilight now that weird either that weird fairy smut book? Because I feel like that doesn't fill the same Twilight void.
I don't know anything about any fairy smut books.
You don't know about the fairy smut books?
Give me a name and I might know.
ACOTAR.
Nope, never heard of that.
It's like what is a crown of or whatever it is.
Oh, those, yeah. Are those about fairies? I had no idea.
Yeah, but they are about they are an erotic fairy adventure, is my understanding.
Okay.
That my mom has read, and I am happy for her, but I don't want to necessarily read that.
I have seen those books at the store. I didn't know what they were about. I didn't know they had fairies.
You should ask Anna what her opinions are of them, because I don't think that she's read, or I don't know if she's read them. I don't know if she has strong opinions on them, but I bet that being someone who has written a book about superhero sex, she would have a lot of thoughts.
I know she has not read those books, but I will ask her if she's heard of them. But
anyway, I don't feel like that should be the Twilight of today.
It's not like Twilight was any good. Come on. Those were terrible.
No, I'm not saying good. I haven't read these books. I don't know. My understanding is that they are better written than a Twilight would have been.
I hope so.
So there is a straight line between Harry Potter and like Twilight, Hunger Games, all this stuff to this. And like I feel like it really goes Harry Potter, Twilight over to a crowd or whatever it is. And it's because there's like, we want to do young adult fantasy stuff. Oh, but won't they romance and all this stuff? Well, all these ladies are in their 30s now, so we have to give them something. So they can have full sex. They can have sex. Anyway, what I'm saying is that the X-Men Curse of the Mutants was trying to fit right in there in the middle during the Twilight era, which I guess makes Krakoa the sex era.
Zack, you gotta stop saying come on. This is an all ages podcast.
Is this an all ages podcast?
Yes. That's why we don't curse.
And yet you had no issue with me calling it a crown of for so long.
I don't know. That, yeah. I guess I missed you saying that.
I said it more than once. It's funny.
It's because I don't know what these books are. I wish I could really understand. I never really saw anything more than just the colorful covers.
I saw that they're like, if you buy 3 of them at an airport bookstore yesterday, they'll give you something.
Wow.
I didn't look that far because if I really wanted to read them, my sister has them all on our Kindle account.
Perfect. There you go. You can read all about the sexy
Adam,
fairies.
We need to get on topic.
I am not the one that took us off topic.
It's a me problem. It's a me problem.
I know. A Curse of the Mutants ran about Twilight.
But I don't want to talk about Curse of the Mutants, and neither do you. We're not even talking about the main book. We're talking about X-Men Curse of the Mutants, Storm and Gambit, written by Chuck Kim with pencils by Chris Bachalo, and boy, are there some inkers.
This is the story that involves, if you remember from Curse of the Mutants, which I don't remember hating the actual core book, Cyclops has the idea to recover Dracula so that he can help them defeat the usurpers in the vampire tribe or whatever the deal is when Curse of the Mutants. So to do this, they have Dracula's head. They need to steal Dracula's body so they can put the head and the body back together so that Cyclops can deliver his famous line, do what your heart tells you to.
I want you to follow Dracula.
Your heart.
Follow your heart.
Yes, great.
Hey,
so who do you send to steal Dracula's body? Of course, you send Storm and Gambit, 2 highly professional thieves. It's basically, their trade and craft.
Honestly, the idea of Storm and Gambit have to do a heist to steal Dracula's body from vampires.
Great pitch.
Should be good.
Great pitch.
And Chris Bachalo draws it. Should be great.
It's not good though.
No. So what do you know about Chuck Kim?
He's written like 4 Marvel comics. I think he's done some other work with DC.
Yeah, so he was an editor at DC. He moved over to Hollywood, where, to be fair, he was an executive story editor for a very popular TV show.
Which one?
So this is going to all make sense in just a second when I tell you that it was seasons 2 and 3 of Heroes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, that makes sense why this book is not good. I don't want to besmirch this individual who I don't know a lot about, but boy, howdy.
If there's one thing I won't give Heroes seasons 2 and 3 is that those 2 seasons did not have great executive story editing. I think we can all safely say that. I bet Chuck Kim would tell us there was a lot going on.
I'm sure. This particular issue is just okay, do we even say what this is called? This is called Curse of the Mutants.
X-Men Curse of the Mutants, Storm
and Gambit. And it's not Chris's best work either. There is an army of inkers on this particular issue, including Tim Townsend, Jaime Mendoza, Wayne Foucher, Alvey, Victor Olazaba, Mark Irwin, and Chris inking himself.
Okay, hold on.
He's also coloring
himself, right? Like those pages where it says Chris inking himself, those are just like colors over, like he did not ink. He just put black lines over his sketched pencils, right?
I mean, they look really bad. So
they look like a rough.
Yeah. And he's also doing some of his own colors here. Antonio,
I actually think the colors are fine. The colors I don't have a big issue with.
No, but it's an odd issue. This is at a weird time for him. I looked up when this came out. So he had just gotten done kind of doing about a year's worth or 6 months worth of Amazing Spider-Man. And Spider-Man stuff for I guess about a year.
Do you know what happens in those Spider-Man stories?
That's the one where Reptile eats his son, right?
Do you think his name's Reptile?
Kirk Connors?
The Reptile? Kirk Connors, the Reptile.
What do you think his name is?
I don't think his name's the Reptile.
Oh, the Lizard. The Lizard. What is his name?
His name's the Lizard. It's Kirk Connors, the Lizard.
The Lizard.
He's been that way since 1962.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It's Friday night. It's late. He eats his kid.
He does eat his
The lizard eats his kid. It's terrible. But this is post, let's see. This is after the Supernovas run.
Yeah.
But before Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yes.
So
Where Wolverine and the X-Men is kind of where he like tightens back up.
exactly. So even his like character modeling in this, like the way he draws Storm and the way he draws Gambit is, I don't know, there's just something off about it. Like you can tell he's
When
trying something.
draws it, it looks like Chris Bachalo.
Yes. Yes. But there's some weird kind of, I don't know. He's always playing around with like kind of caricature, almost like widening and flattening of facial features and body proportions. And for this one, everybody seems just like a little squat in a way.
He does a lot of cartooning in this.
Yeah.
A lot of like, his chibi era of Generation X.
Yes.
It's not that, but it is in conversation with that.
Yeah. And unfortunately, because there's such a wide variety of inkers on these pages, you're jumping really far across the Chris stratosphere going from page to page, because some of them, I mean, this whole issue does appear, there are some really nice pages in here, but there's some others that just, this looks like it got pulled together pretty quickly. And unfortunately, the story just, I don't know, like there's a whole bit where they have to go underground into a cave, and Storm is just like, oh yeah, I've defeated my claustrophobia, by the way.
Which it's fine. Okay, here's what I'd say. One, I feel like you don't really defeat claustrophobia in so much as you deal with it, and it's a thing to add some tension to a space. But like, yeah, Storm is off her game, because even if she's like not paralyzed by claustrophobia, she's not happy about it.
No, and unfortunately, even though this is supposed to be kind of like a fun jaunt with these two characters, we also get sidelined by this addition of Dracula's son, who's like hanging
Janet?
around and like wants to help them find the body. And it's like, that character is not very interesting. And
look, I don't want to say much about Janice because I've not read Tomb of Dracula, which I hear is very good, but also I don't care about Janice at all.
No. So long story short, they do get the body. They
do, but
but
in this Dracula's den of all these Draculas, there are some innocent people, and Storm has to cast down a lightning bolt and kill the innocent people, or the innocent people die in the crossfire, and she knows it's going to happen, and that sucks.
Yeah, that part of the story works for me, because there's this weird vampire force field around this island that Dracula's body is on, and it's being powered by like a vampire machine that's like using blood from people who are hanging in the ceiling.
It's not well written.
It's not well written, and the art is like it's a little bit confusing as to what exactly is going on, so it's unclear. But there's a little bit of pathos in that.
They add pathos. It's just, I don't want a story about Storm from the X-Men having no other choice but to let innocent people die because she's a superhero, and you do what you do in Spider-Man 2002, a movie I've on this podcast said is overrated, but has that great scene where Green Goblin's like, you must choose, Spider-Man! Mary Jane or school children, and Spider-Man saves them both.
That's right,
because that's what superhero. That's the genre.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So either this is why Hero Season 2 is bad, because it doesn't want to be a superhero thing.
I don't even remember what happens. I just remember it being very bad.
Siler goes on a road trip to Mexico. Peter leaves his girlfriend in the Days of Future Past.
Oh right.
Hero. I don't know what Hero does during that season.
You know what? You could stop, because I don't care.
Man,
I'm never going back to it.
Heroes Recap Podcast.
Ugh. No.
Adam,
never.
What if, hold on.
It's my nightmare.
What if the people on Patreon got us to $500? Would you sell your soul? We wouldn't have to do any more than the first 3 seasons.
Oh my God. I don't know. We'd really have to do a push. I mean, I don't know. That seems like a lot of time and energy that I don't want to expend on something that I don't like. So, no.
We can have Anna join us.
No, this sounds like a terrible idea, and I'm saying no to it. I have better ways of spending my time.
Get us to $500. I'll push Adam. I'll make it happen.
This issue, it's not good. If you're a Chris Bachalo completist, you might want to check it out and find it, but it's not his best work. And the story is just okay. And frankly, you don't need it. You could just say, we sent Storm and Gambit to go get Dracula's body. They're great thieves. And that's exactly what happens when you read Curse of the Mutants. You don't need this issue.
Hey, you know that Dracula dies and his body is separated literally like 2 months before Curse of the Mutants by the same writer who wrote Curse of the Mutants. He kills Dracula just to bring him back.
Great.
But here's what I don't like.
Yeah.
He kills him,
Mm-hmm.
but he kills him while Dracula's wearing his weird Final Fantasy clothes.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you really wanted to put Dracula in Final Fantasy clothes, you could have killed him and then had him come back and wear that as part of his rebirth.
Oh, yeah.
Victor Glischer, you're not good at this. That's the reason why this didn't work. The Inhumans one didn't work because that was the Inhumans suck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Comparatively, like if you want to make them pure antagonists like the X-Men. This one was bad because of Victor Glischer 100%. Where should we put this on our list, Adam?
The actual Curse of Mutants, which is better than this, is down at 658.
Insanely high.
Yeah.
Curse of the... It's everything after Curse of the Mutants is worse than Curse of the Mutants, though.
Which
And
is
it just
funny
keeps going
because
that entire
the
volume.
be aware, I forgot about this. Who jumps on X-Men Volume 3 for 4 issues right after Curse of the Mutants is Chris Bachalo.
Where he does that thing where I think they have to fight the Reptile.
Yeah.
That's the character, right? The Reptile from Spider-Man?
Yes, the Reptile. Not the lizard.
From Arachnid Lad?
Reptile.
The Reptile from Arachnid Lad. All of our favorite character from Stanley Lai.
Oh my god. I'm
this
not
is
living
bad.
that one down.
I'll forget about it by next week, okay, man?
Okay. Fair.
Wait, what if the Reptile got infected by the Brood? What do you think would happen there?
Stop. Where are you putting this?
7-year callback, baby. Let's go! Is this worse than Onslaught X-Force X-Man? Yes.
Where is that?
77.
Wow, we're putting it that low.
You want to put it higher?
I don't know if it's that bad.
It's worse than Wolverine Goes to Hell, the story where Wolverine goes to hell from the event Wolverine Goes to Hell.
Yeah, and the art's not as good as the New Mutants 29 to 34.
We all know what happens in that one.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it.
I think this is on par with X-Men Blue 7 to 9 Secret Empire.
I would put it below that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like at 798 is X-Men Green. This is probably better than X-Men Green.
Like we're on par with Kitty Robs a Bank from Axis Revolutions #3 with Pepe Larraz's art, which is just okay. You know?
Because it's kind of nothing. You know what? I'm going to put it below Kitty Robs a Bank.
Okay.
I want to put it below Kings of Pain, but I know you won't let me.
No, we can't put it below Kings of Pain. As bad as this is, it's not bad. It's not that bad. All right, so this is our new 794, Curse of the Mutants, Storm and Gambit. And Zach, let's talk about one more. We'll go back in time here. We've been in reverse chronological. This is X-Men Unlimited #1.
Yeah, it is professional comic book writer Scotty Lobdell and Chris Bachalo drawing this one. Here's the thing. Most of the time, when a writer and an artist do a book that is set in a snowstorm, it's to give the artist a break.
Right. That's not the case here.
Because it can be mostly white space.
Right.
Anyway, Chris Bachalo got offended by the fact that he was asked to draw a snowstorm. So he drew the most snowstorm.
Wait, you know that he got offended, or are you just guessing that?
Adam, I know very little.
It is funny how much detail goes into drawing the blizzard that is surrounding them. So I think we've got to just introduce what this book is, because this book is coming out at a time of like really intense overexposure of the market to X-Men stuff in 1993. This is the 30th anniversary of X-Men, and they are just saturating the market with as much stuff as possible. So they
wanted a new book called X-Men with a #1 on it, because the last time they did that, they made all of the money.
They sure did. And this is supposed to be kind of a dancing between the raindrops book that, you know, tells stories that are going to feed back into, it's almost like an annual, right?
It is. Because it's a prestige, oversized format,
Yep.
quarterly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this book was. It was supposed to be like annuals, but like highlight everything. It has great pinups in the back. There's a Brian Stelfreeze one at the back of this one that is great.
And there are, at least for a couple years, some standout X-Men Unlimited stories. And it does get off to an exciting start. I will say that. I think it's important, since we're talking about Chris Bachalo's artwork and his career, just to really pinpoint when this is and why I find it so interesting, because this is coming at a time when Chris is not yet part of the X-Men family. Chris is most known at this time period for doing Shade the Changing Man over at DC. And
which I've never read, and I really want to.
It's, if not for the story, it is a fascinating thing to look at over the course of like 50 issues or something like that, how Chris's style evolves over the course of several years into the one that we're familiar with when he hits Generation X. Because
Shade's like, he had done some stuff in Sandman at the exact same Sandman number 12.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is like his first comics stuff.
He's actually doing this at the same time that he's drawing Shade. And in Shade, he is being inked by Rick Bryant and really developing the style that he will perfect, in my opinion, with Buckingham on Generation X. So he goes from August of 1994, Shade number 50, to boom, September of 1994 is Generation X number 1. Like, it's a straight up transition. Now, what's so interesting about this book is that he's not paired with Bryant
Mark Buckingham
or Buckingham. He is paired with someone who I don't think really fits his style very well. And that is Dan Panosian, who's much more at this point in a very different place stylistically. So it's a really interesting like confluence of these two artists drawing this book.
It is Dan Panosian trying to like push that image style, the Jim Lee style. Let's call it what it is, the Jim Lee style, onto Chris Bachalo, who is a different artist.
Who's doing a Vertigo book, you know? Like, it's so interesting to see these two and their blends. And when more of Chris comes out, when more of Dan comes out over the course of this issue. Now, I'm really curious what you think of this story-wise, because this is either an exciting thing for folks or it's very bland. This is the introduction of the upstart known as Sienna Blaze.
Do not care about Sienna Blaze.
Me neither.
That right now.
Yeah.
No one has ever cared about Sienna Blaze.
Sienna Blaze is dumb and affects the EM field of the Earth or something like that, which causes the X-Jet to crash. Where are they? Antarctica?
They were in the Savage Land celebrating Kazar's baby.
That's what it was. Yep.
And then Sienna Blaze causes it. Here's the thing about Sienna Blaze. I thought for a second, I was like, wait, is Sienna Blaze a Chris Bachalo design? Because that doesn't look like a Chris Bachalo design, and it's a Brandon Peterson design from Strike Files.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. And I was thinking about that while I was reading this, because I was like, if Chris designed this character, she would look so much cooler. She doesn't look cool. Yeah, he's just dealing with whatever he's been given, you know?
So what ends up happening is Cyclops and Storm and Professor X crash in the Antarctica portion outside of the Savage Land.
Yep.
The part we call Antarctica.
Uh-huh.
Cyclops has lost his visor.
Yes.
Professor X can't walk.
Mm-hmm.
Storm is overheated from lightning things.
They do this weird thing with Storm's powers that I don't recall seeing anywhere else, that like she basically maxes herself out, and because she basically gives herself like hyperthermia from trying to control the weather. I've never seen this happen anywhere else in any other X-Men story.
Well, because Cyclops is like, I thought Storm was immune to weather. And
Professor's like, no.
Immune to weather? Do you hear yourself, Scott? You idiot. You moron. Why would you think that? He thinks that because that's how comic books work.
Yes.
Charles.
She can like
in my Charles,
channel
I mean
lightning.
Scott.
Come on. Of course she's immune.
That's confusing. I was yelling at Scott Lobdell, not Scott Summers.
No,
Scott Summers is a perfect good boy who's never done anything wrong.
There is that funny bit with with Scott not wanting to call Professor Xavier Charles. I did appreciate that. That's a fun little
That's
scene.
Good. What I like is that this does it. What it's trying to position is, hey, these are the leaders of the X-Men.
Yes.
It's Scott, it's Storm, it is Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the leaders of the X-Men. And it wants to be a story about how they are similar, how they differ, and how they relate to one another, how they respect one another. And I think you get a really good understanding of Professor X's relationship to Scott,
Mhm.
Scott's relationship to Professor X,
Mhm.
and Scott's relationship to Storm.
Mhm.
Storm gets to spend the entire issue mostly knocked out, which is
Not great.
a choice when you're talking about, hey, these are the 3 leaders of the X-Men.
Who are fighting the elements, who are battling weather. It's odd.
It is weird to have the Black Woman be the one that you've... Not weird and, like, unexpected, just, like, y'all...
It's a choice that I don't love. The other thing, aside from the Sienna Blaze of it all, that is annoying about this is that they clearly were trying to seed other things with this book. And so there's this sequence where Charles decides to go off on his own for no reason whatsoever.
Oh, when Charles Xavier gets on a snowmobile?
Gets on a snowmobile, the batteries cut out, and he is rescued by a mysterious figure who brings him to a mysterious castle in the Antarctic wilderness. And, who could it be? And everyone's like, yeah, it's Magneto. Like, we get it. It's Magneto. That part annoys me, in just terms of like, oh, this is some big mystery. It's not. They show a silhouette of him. It's pretty obvious. I do think that this succeeds for the most part, but I don't think it's like fantastic.
You want it to be better.
Yes.
Because, like, Bachalo, he's not there yet. Or not even not there. It really probably is the damn Takenouchi inks, right? Right? Like,
it's a weird thing because both of them are really good. I just think it's like a real mismatch for them at this point in their careers to try and get them to be doing their thing. And it's so amazing when you pair Chris with Buckingham like a year later, and it's like magic, it's just like some of the most beautiful artwork you've ever seen.
Chris does Ghost Rider 2099.
Yep.
Like right after this.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is some really good stuff in this book, but there's some other stuff that's kind of lacking.
It doesn't do what you want it to do.
No, I want more out of this book, and I know I'm asking a lot, but as a Chris Bachalo super fan, I do really enjoy seeing these different stages of his career and the artists that he's paired with. So just from that perspective alone, it's a fascinating read.
It is.
Where are we putting this?
On our list somewhere, Adam. Somewhere.
I want to say...
Where do we have some unlimited stuff? That's in the 700s. That's too low.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Is this in the top 4?
All of our unlimited. This is the best unlimited story we have ranked.
Oh, by far. Yeah. Most unlimited stuff is not very good.
Okay, hold on. Now I have to look. This isn't as good as number 500, which is Wolverine versus the Collector by Eric Larson.
Which is saying something, because I do think the art is better. I just don't think the story is better.
Yeah.
But I would say it's better than the Hunt for Xavier at 516.
I think that's right. I think that feels right.
But I would not put it ahead of the absolute insanity of the Conan arc of X-Men Volume 2, 20 to 23 at 511.
Yeah, I'd put it a little bit lower. Nightcrawler Volume 4, 1 through 4, which is the start of the Chris Claremont, Todd Knock Nightcrawler, which is a mess.
Yeah.
But I like it better than that. I'm gonna say I'll put it below X-Force Old Ghosts, because that's got that Clayton. No, wait, that doesn't have Clayton Crane art on it. Never mind. It can go above that one.
All right. So it's gonna be our new 515 X-Men Unlimited #1, an interesting curiosity of the time.
Folks, we've had a lot of fun here today.
We sure have.
But I wanna leave us with one bit of Chris Bachalo related stuff.
Oh, what you got?
Story.
Got a story?
Anecdote. I do believe the last time me and Adam were in a room together.
Yes.
Which has been quite some time at this point.
It's true. It's been a few years.
It was a Pando. It was a whole thing. The last time we were in a room together, I believe the last thing I did was peer pressure Adam into buying some Chris Bachalo art.
That's true. I still have it hanging in my office.
That's 100% the last thing that happened with like me and Adam hanging out in person.
It's true.
And I think that's beautiful, especially because we're about to go do New York Comic Con soon, and I can't wait.
That's funny. Yeah, it's true. I look at it every day. It's hanging right over my desk. I'd love to
Ain't
have
that
some more.
nice? Hey, what do you got going on besides a piece of art, Adam?
I just had a piece go up on Comics XF. I interviewed a couple that went to that weird Airbnb X-Men 97 promotion, because I don't know if you are like me. I had so many questions about even what that was.
Adam,
And
I believe the time I found that out, which was way later than other people, because I have given up on the internet. I believe I immediately sent it to you and said, Adam, I have so many questions.
yes. And so if you are one of those folks that has some questions like I did, please make sure to check out that article, because this couple was extremely nice and answered all of my questions. At the time this comes out, my one and only Anna Papard is selling some really fun screen printed shirts with the Dazzler star on them, and then there's variants. So the one is a blue shirt with a gold star on it. Then there's a long shot variant, which is a black shirt with the gold star on the right side of the chest. And then there's a third one, which is a white shirt with a black star on the left side, which is the Shatterstar variant. So if you're interested in any of those, head over to her social media. You can send her a DM and order one of them. They're really cool.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, folks.
Yeah. You guys can always follow me on social media. Adam Reck on Blue Sky and Instagram. Arthur Stacy on Twitter. Zach, what do you got going on?
Does anyone want to buy a big air conditioner?
I did just replace my furnace, so that was fun.
Bigger.
Oof.
I mean, like, legitimately, if you're in the market for a commercial air conditioner,
Zach's your guy.
up to 40 tons, hit me up.
Jeez.
Otherwise, listen to the show. It's great. I love the show. I love doing the show. I love that people love the show.
Me too. We should thank our patron again.
I love our patron. I love Josh Moore. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
We like Josh.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. What do we got going on next week, Zach?
Oh, next week we're doing stories that exclusively take place in Peru.
Interesting. Okay. What a prompt.
There's been times where we have been challenged to find 3 stories.
Mm-hmm.
I took this as a personal challenge.
You did it.
To find 3 stories.
Yeah.
And I personally succeeded. So, great. I'm the best. I'm kidding. I'm the second best. You're the best.
Oh,
Adam.
stop.
Oh, stop.
You're the baddest.
Oh, those are the opposite things. But until then, folks, this has been Bally Adam. We hope you survive the experience.
Get it!